Hello there everyone and welcome back. We have a sale going on there and it seems like there's a lot of new players being introduced to Armada 2, at least temporarily, because good god, my last video was playing with Imperial Navy and last I checked, it was only just barely on the legendary ranking last I checked. Never mind all the boosting that I have for all these other fleets, I'm pretty certain they were nowhere near getting close to legendary rank, but here we are regardless. There's a boost on pretty much everything just about. So I like to think that's promise for a lot of opponents for the next week or so. Wishful thinking. Who knows? I just hope at least that they have a good time with Armada 2, whether it's a single player or not. But we're going to have some more fun with the good old Rock fleet. And if you are new to this channel, do keep in mind this is more of a silly fleet, but one that has incredible promise. It does have some downsides with a lack of point defense dealing with bombers, and especially boarding parties like against Space Marines or Drukhari, but when I last played with this fleet I did deal with a bunch of Space Marines, so I like to think I can deal with them decently, but it's the Drukhari and their Impalers that are likely going to be the hard counter, just because of how durable those Impalers can be. And the fact that they just want to run away all day because of said Impaler fleet, since they have very little reason to commit to a fight. But these Roks are mobile. I have the tractor cannon to help a tiny bit, maybe. So there may be possibilities, but we haven't gone up against them yet to really know for certain. So with that said, let's have some more fun and see if we can get some more victories with this fleet. Alright, I think I recognize this Tyranid opponent, although since we're dealing with an invisible adversary, and my Roks don't really have the best crew complement, this could be a bit of a problem. Although if they are Pyro Asset, or if their fleet is focused on Pyro Asset, my Roks are going to have an amazing time with them. And the main reason for that, if you're not privy to the strengths of the Orc Roks, or just anything that's like this, which namely the Krunch War Spear, and I don't think there's another ship that's like this that has complete immunity to critical hits, right? I want to say there's a third ship, although for the life of me I can't remember what there is, or what it is. But I'm pretty certain it's the Krunch War Spear and these Roks. Of course, there's 3 different types of Roks, the cruiser, battleship, and then the light cruiser that we're using, but I don't know why I have it in my head that there might be another one. I guess that goes to show how messed up my head is currently, with me trying to play a bunch of other games this past 2 weeks, so I am getting all my information all mixed up. But another thing I have not really considered was there was a 50-60-ish megabyte patch, and hopefully that has corrected a lot of the bugs that we've been seeing, most notably the invisibility glitch that we've had up to, for the past month or two? Armada 2 doesn't really get much balance, or at least updates in general at this point, while Tindalos is working on whatever they have in mind. Hopefully it's Armada 3. I like to think it's Armada 3, because for crying out loud, Armada 2 and Armada 1 on release had a lot more, maybe over double the player base of even Iron Harvest and Necromunda on release. So I like to think that's promising potential for the future for this game. I just couldn't tell you otherwise with certainty. But the Roks are going to be good at negating fire results of Pyro Asset, because that's the main strength of Pyro Asset. Although, I did not consider I might need a beacon. Although, really? Yeah, there's a lot of things I failed to consider with the upgrades, since I was more focused on just the matchup in general. Since I don't really think I need extended range anymore, since by the time I do see them, that's going to be irrelevant. They're going to be on my ass already. But I do need to be careful of fighters, boarding, all that. All those. Okay, and we see the spore mine, so can I... Never mind the fact we're seeing everything going on there. So you're helping us. Oh wait, oh god, really? Pay close attention to this, folks. You see what I see here? I don't know if this was a bug introduced in the update or not, but the fact we can literally see where the hive ships are is a big deal. But that could be a visual glitch with the... I think it's with the micro warp jump or the void lurker trait that they did. Because I'm not seeing it on the cruisers. And it is pyro asset, at least on the flagship, which doesn't mean much yet. And I could dodge these easily. I just don't want to get rammed by my own ship. Oh, no, the visibility bug's still in effect, it looks like. So let's murder this thing quickly, because if those are cruisers, there's not much they could do about it. Yeah, I'm void lurker and all that, so you're just gonna run away, that's fine. And here comes the boarding parties, that's what I'm afraid of. Oh, no, they're just fighters, okay. So is it possible I can reveal the cruisers and just do a lot of damage to them then? Because we are hitting them. I could dodge these Roks. I could dodge these torpedoes. Well, do I brace for impact or not? I'm still going to take some hits, I'm not going to lie, but... especially killing my own frigate as a bonus, I suppose. And unintended. But... I don't think I need to do much else outside try and harass the hell out of this ship. I don't think destroying the deck turns off void lurker as much as I would love to. But if we could pressure it, that helps. Because you're just burning all your crew on this boarding. And the main problem with Tyranids is they can, well, at least with this type of matchup, is they can just regenerate their crew incredibly well. They have the means to, but if we can pincer you down, that's good. Although, I do need to circumvent this dang gas cloud. And I like to grab this objective still, because my opponent is playing that kind of passive game. And if the crew's gonna die, well, I should have really saved that reload in all honesty. Because I'm just gonna reactivate this crew. And that could have been an additional fire assault. That could have caused issues. I do need to go after something, alas. Because this crew damage is going to start harassing me some. My Roks are good at dodging the torpedoes though, but... I'm going to have to definitely change my approach with this matchup. Is what it's looking like here. Now where is my... well, I have frigates basically stuck in the spore field at the moment, so... And I know without a doubt you're just going to void lurker back out, so... And I can't switch the brace for impact either is a bit of a problem, but... Pyro acid should not do much on its own, at least. Although this is what I need to be mindful of. No, don't group order on me, please.
25% of strategic points.
Enemy ship sighted!
So you're just gonna void lurker again. I think that much should be certain at this point. And you're gonna sadly burn to death and probably lose all your crew as a result of that. Alright, get the crew back in line. This thing could die. I'm just wondering... oh, that is gonna die just because of all that. Oh, so close. At least we have it marked, so that's gonna help a ton, but... let's just deal with these. And no mutiny there. I don't know why you would be mutinying, you're pretty much immune to fire assaults. No. once I get in range, I could track this and at least get ready to do a lot of damage to this once it void lurkers. I just don't want to switch to reload or anything like that. Okay. So you're hitting again. I'm not gonna have scanner pulse. I admire the different play style at least, but now we have... Maybe I should have just committed to fighting this thing, because I'm not seeing any more boarding torpedoes or anything of the sort.
The enemy has accumulated 50%
And this
strategic
is
points.
key to their strategy just because of how easy it can be for it to... Well, their entire fleet to break on them.
Enemy ship sight.
There. That probably was a mistake. Actually, it turned off everything, so that's kind of the best case situation for me some. Can we kill it though? Probably not. Because you burnt your Russian everything.
Boarding boys did good, boss.
I probably just failed to really commit when I should have.
Met boys.
And sadly, my flagship's the only thing at risk of getting destroyed here. Has a real risk of it. And destroy, unless I can get at the rest of the ships,
Place ready.
destroying this won't do much on its own. I don't even think I have enough firepower, because you have no crew. You're dealing with the Krakens right now, which you can still do pretty well.
Red band.
No, you are not allowed. Although we still have to do a lot more damage to you. And I have to be mindful of the boarding parties.
You got it, boss.
Can we at least kill this thing?
What you want?
Because we can scanner pulse them, they're gonna break.
You got it.
Again, I'm kind of immune to pyro acid, but it's the boarding results that can be a bit of a pain.
Fight another day. Move that junk.
Don't think it's gonna work there, unless I could... Yeah, you're just gonna recharge your abilities. If maybe I commit a little bit more... But I still got a lot of firepower I can use against these things. Can I reactivate the crew? No, I cannot. Especially with the bad time on the mutiny. I did not watch for that. Dang it, I'm all sorts of messed up there, but... I didn't know what I should have prioritized, because we've seen how easily that hive ship could run away from me. So, I'm wondering if that was the right choice or not, because it's an unusual situation to be in where they're just burning all their charges. And they can only recharge one group of torpedoes at a time, and that's on like a 2-minute timer. So in all honesty, should I have just grabbed the objectives or committed fully to going after the hive ship? That was where my main problem lied, since you almost never see that kind of shenanigans with Tyranids. So if we get them again, maybe I should commit to the aggression, because the Roks are amazing at dodging torpedoes at least, if I watch for them. Ah, this is a shame. Gonna disappoint me. And I could sort of deal with the blood axes really well, but it comes down to a question: well, tractor cannon without a doubt was helpful against the Tyranids. The plasma bomb did notable damage, but I am wondering if a beacon ultimately would have been really good or not. And we're dealing with blood axes, so we're probably having some stealth commando shenanigans, which we'll have to keep an eye out for. I don't really want the beacon, since their ships can't really traverse like the Tyranids can after all. I just need to be able to reveal them ahead of time, which I hopefully only need a single frigate for. And even though once those ships jumped on my battleship, the poor thing was getting melted really quickly apparently too. since it took almost no damage, and as a result, it lost its deck permanently and did lose out to the mutiny. I didn't have a rally or anything like that to kind of keep them in line. I was still maybe 13-20 seconds away from that, I believe. So that's unfortunate, and it goes to show how important I need to protect that thing, or how much I need to protect that ship. Which is what I've been trying to do before, at least. Again, it was an awkward situation, one I'm not familiar and used to with Tyranids. Because I don't recall if anyone else uses boring torpedoes besides my own Tyranid fleet. And again, they can recharge the boring torpedoes, but otherwise they would have a limited amount, which is where the conflict of interest was on whether I should have grabbed objectives or not. But at the same time, Tyranids can recharge their crew complement or their charges at the cost of a large portion of their crew, which, again, a lot of uncertainties. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get a rematch. I would have liked that to kind of better refine and understand my Tyranid matchups, since a lot of the Tyranids have been pretty straightforward.
You got it, boss.
Well, at the very least, I am thankful for not having to deal. Oh. Well, if you're gonna go with all Roks, well, I could do the same. Well, I should just go after deck, because I have only one ship there. I do need to be... I need to prioritize those ships on the right, or the left there. So that way they take heavier morale damage. I don't think I need to rush too much. And what do we have on the right here?
What you want?
Since this battleship could do a lot of damage, I have a track can to help some. So if I can reveal them quickly, that helps. Because the more of these ships that die, the more morale they lose. Okay. Well, actually, let me just pay attention to which ones actually need to dodge, since it's only what, 8 torpedoes, is it? So 2 battleships worth.
You got it.
So maybe I don't have to worry about them too much. It depends what torpedoes are. I mentioned before there's like a visual difference for knowing what kind of torpedoes they are. I just for life me can't tell if these are the boarding ones or the regular damage torpedoes. We'll know in a moment. Okay, they're just the boring torpedoes, which I could deal with some. Especially since only one actually connected. I'm gonna have to switch the brace for impact to try and mitigate this some, but Roks are pretty good at dodging torpedoes just because they don't have to rely on the rotation time. But let's see, if that's a battleship, then they have 4 charges of all these torpedoes and everything. And the damaged torpedoes are kind of pointless. They don't have... Apparently they still don't breach the armor, so I took a whopping 15 points of damage. Okay, so they're all cruisers or battle cruisers. That's all fine. I can live with that.
You got it, boss.
Let's keep putting the pressure on them, shall we? And brace for impact hopefully helps deal with some of these torpedoes for me. Because you're burning all your charges, and this is very reminiscent to the Tyranid match, but the big difference is they can't recharge their fighters or their torpedoes. Which is why I was so conflicted in the last game, but this time I'm just going to try and outlast this barrage. Gotta get ready for the next Nova Cannon. I wish I had done that better, but that should mitigate a lot of damage there. Take a little bit of morale damage, maybe. It looks like it's only 50 morale damage, so that's not a big deal. And you just dodged their torpedoes. What I want to do is go after these ships. But these are the bigger Roks, too. Are they, or are they regular size? Nope, they're light rocks. So, the main thing I want to do is to minimize the damage they do to me by being on one singular arc, ideally, and prioritize this flagship. It's going to be tricky to do, because this may not go well, because my flagship's going to get hammered hard, and I have you set to priority 1, so you better fall apart quickly. I just need more ships to be able to hit it. And Battleship could do a lot of damage. I could repair fire assaults because they don't really suffer. Well, that's a little unfortunate because the morale is also breaking on these ships. But if the flagship dies, that helps a ton with what I have in mind. Because that's going to be so much morale damage on them. I want to believe, especially with the fire assaults. And now I'm just waiting for mutinies. Because this thing might actually die pretty quickly in the middle of all these. And that's going to cause a little bit of problem too. I just want to rally. This thing is going to die, and that's going to cause all sorts of problems.
Here we go.
And especially since we destroyed their own flagship, keep that in mind too. I was expecting these things to break a little bit faster.
You have accumulated 25%
No.
of strategic points.
Let's at least get the plasma bomb going while we kill off these final ships.
Lost one.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Yeah, that is a little unfortunate if I might lose this. Even though I destroyed their flagship first and it did very little for me.
You orders over there.
But, let's see, I might... Yeah, you're not going to get the repair, sadly.
Move that junk.
I want to maximize my damage by being able to... Oh, you're gonna... Nope, that was dumbfire torpedoes.
Time to stop them.
All I can really hope for is enough damage here to maybe force them to break. And also, let's see. I want to cause some boring damage, so hopefully force this to break as well. Because fire assault there is pretty good.
We stopped the enemy ship.
Yeah, fire assault might be able to do it. My ships are going to break. This is going to be a bit funny. Because I destroyed their cruisers first, including the flagship, so... The fact none of the ships, none of the rocks really broke is a bit
The enemy
saying
has
something there.
accumulated 50% of strategic
Although that might have been the WOG song, wasn't it? I didn't really consider the fact that the WOG song making everyone immune to morale damage could have been a factor. Only problem is that has a short range of 4,500 units after all, so
More
I wouldn't have thought that would do that much if I were serious.
Fight over here. What do you want? Enemy ship.
So that is something I'm really curious about. I feel like that should have been a victory for me because I had the better direct weaponry. It was probably a mistake having the battleship just fly in there. But there's not much I could have really done to keep them from going after the battleship as either. Never mind, I was kind of gambling on the fact destroying the cruisers well before they destroy any mine would have forced all these ships to break, and that sadly did not happen. Maybe it was a bit of a mistake not doing early boarding either. But I'm gambling a bit that the boarding damage would actually cause a fire assault as well.
You got it.
When maybe boarding the cruisers might have been more useful because it's a little more reliable to get deck destruction.
Move that junk.
I am curious what happened
The enemy
there,
has seized a strategic area.
since I don't feel like that should have been a loss with all 3 of the cruisers dying before any of my ships did. And I sadly had to burn the rally for the flagship itself, because the Roks did not break at all. None of my Roks did, at least until the flagship got destroyed. So there's something I'm curious about again. Only thing I can realistically think of is the Wog Song, but again, it has such a short range, the Roks would have not been affected by that. So how the hell did I lose that, I wonder? Alright, Chaos. So I'm not going to get my rematches of any kind, but we're getting different matchups at the very least. And I guess, after thinking about it a little bit, maybe I should have been more aggressive on boarding the Roks, because at least then, when mutinies do happen, they're a lot more likely to suffer a lot of critical hits, if not have their crew completely killed off to the point that they can't be rallied. But even then, destroying 3 of their cruisers and then, I believe, outnumbering them on the rock count, you figured I should have still been in good shape despite not doing that too optimally. And even then, I have to look at the video to really understand the nuances, the very minute details that may have made the difference there, since I don't even recall what kind of upgrades they even had. I know they had at least a Nova Cannon, and even then my Plasma Bomb is arguably better, especially if I aimed it on the Roks, but Roks can also easily dodge that, let's be honest, if they're paying attention for it. So, in that one specific situation, you figured I would have had the better advantage there. Outside the minor bit of morale damage, if multiple Nova Cannons were to actually hit the same ship, then that could have been noticeable, that could have been a big deal. And even then, I think it was just 1 or 2 hits at most that a single ship took. So I don't know. I feel like I'm hanging on these defeats too much there. Especially the Tyranid one, because I'm really curious about the nuances there. Since you, again, very rarely deal with very patient and very cautious type of Tyranid players, or at least I haven't personally. In fact, I'm the one who more plays that way with my Strangle, Tentacle, and Boarding Fleet. So let's see. I want to believe they're going to play the kiting game and run away from me, so I want to prioritize engines for that reason. And 5 ships kind of suggests maybe Acherons.
Faster, you grots.
And I don't want to reveal myself for that. At least not too early for that reason,
Ready.
since their long range is sure to do a lot of damage to me. Although,
Enemy ship sighted.
who do I track cannon?
Enemy
Oh.
ship sighted.
Alright, so battleship there. Armor-piercing ammo, this is interesting. Armor-piercing ammo and a Desolator, no less. Keep that in mind. That thing's all about lance weaponry, with very little macro cannons, so... Does that mean these are Grand Cruisers then?
Strategic area.
I'm wondering. Otherwise... Yeah, okay, Mike Warp Jump. I kind of suspected that there'd be something at play, because I was about to say, if I dived this thing, that could have been an amazing opportunity just because it would have such a hard time getting away. That's not gonna happen, at least for now.
You want us over there?
And I'm fine with it, because again, armor-piercing ammo, I'm not really too worried about that. I might as well boost to get you caught up on the fray. And there's a gas cloud here to at least conceal yourself. In the most extreme case.
You have seized a strategic
Alright, so
area.
Hades. Prow lances and broadside macro cannons. That makes a little more sense. Now we just gotta go reveal them. And thankfully I have the armor to help with this
Over here. You got it, boss.
Now, let me track can everything forward.
Fox is best.
And force you to fight.
Load that junk.
Although sadly my battleship's not going to be able to join anytime soon, but... Oh, you have Grand Cruisers as well.
We
Although this evasive maneuver works out well, because that just means they're not taking shots at me, which gives me more time for my shields to come back up.
Here we go.
And now we have to pincer them into a corner,
Move
and just be mindful again. They have broadside macro cannons, so they can still do a lot of damage. So my main strength is fighting them at 9,000 range and not point blank.
What you want?
Now, I have more track cannons, so... Actually, let's just track can you, because
You got it.
that puts them a lot more on a clock.
Strategic area.
Because I'm going to boost in a moment, and then they'll be forced to evade some more.
Full speed.
And I'm about to reveal them, which means I can start shooting them, if only barely.
We's ready.
And even more so, I'm going to have this gas cloud, which will protect these ships for at least a limited time.
Hey.
You have seized a strategic area.
You got it, boss.
Actually, let me just get you in the gas cloud. Everything else is just going to naturally conceal itself pretty soon.
Fight is over here.
Yeah, you can micro warp jump. I'm okay with that, I just need to fight some of their ships, which honestly should be the Grand Cruisers.
Walks his best.
And let's see, Repulsive does get to travel further. The reason I want to go after these is because they're slower. And I'll have a track can in a moment. And this should put me in almost optimal firing range. I just want to get maximum value out of my track cannon, because it will turn off by once my ships are out of the range. Now we need to prioritize a ship. So your priority 1, your priority 2. Gotta be very careful of my flagship getting sniped. That's gonna be a
Us over there.
that's gonna be a huge liability if I don't take that seriously.
You got it, boss.
And thankfully, if they're on my broadside, I could do a lot of damage to them.
You got it, boss.
So just keep chasing them, pincer them into a corner,
You got it.
and if possible, just hit both their ships.
Yeah.
It's going to be tricky to do because I'm about to boost. And without a doubt, the flagship's going to micro warp jump, so I need to have my boarding at the ready for that, if I can get close enough.
Walks his best.
Yep, you are taking rear shots, so
Master your drugs.
it's not much shots, but I still need to take that seriously.
What you want?
So frigates, you're going to be sacrificial fodder,
Master your drugs.
while I avoid getting my rear hit.
The fight is over here. We's ready.
And I can't reach with Plasma Bomb, although
Got it.
frigates I'm still hoping can take these hits.
Yeah. You got it, boss.
And you will be in a gas cloud in a moment, so let's keep an eye out for any possible frigates that might try and reveal you.
Load that junk. What you want?
Alright, more boosting. I'm sadly not going to be in range, but
What you want?
let's see if we can grab the objective at least, because you're going to be safe.
Drugs.
That's the third micro warp jump, so they can only do one more.
Your strategic area.
And I think for the sake of morale, let's keep these things boosted.
To strategic points. The enemy has seized a strategic area.
And if I'm going to board something, I need to focus my boarding on one ship.
The enemy has accumulated 25%.
Which, ooh, now I'm in conflict of interest. I have that permanent engine destruction on that one.
Walks his best.
And I'll be able to have a nice track can on you in a moment, so maybe I can have my cake and eat it too.
Reloading. We's ready.
Because you're about to get in track can range, I am going to forfeit points, which I'm kind of okay with. Because this will drastically hurt their firepower.
Reloading.
And actually get into ramming distance, although your own pathing might mess you up some.
You got it. Flashlights on.
And you are not going anywhere unless I will it. There. Murder the Grand Cruisers. Actually, you start turning and preparing yourself. So this is half of their fleet, with only one micro-warp jump left.
Take it, damn it, boss! Here we go.
And keep in mind they have armor-piercing ammo, which isn't much of an issue if they're going to run away from me, although apparently it's mattering on this one ship, sadly. So I might lose a rock. No, I'm not going to lose a rock because the shields are up.
Roks is best.
Maybe I should have reminded myself of that sooner.
You have accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Now I gotta keep in mind, my flagship is prone to getting grabbed here, but again, if they fly away from me, they're not really shooting me.
You want us over there?
So I think I'm okay. Where can I conceal this frigate? Because everyone's on reload at the moment. I'm hoping to switch to lock-on pretty soon.
Fight's over here. Retros on.
And if I can reveal and maybe conceal myself, that'll be nice.
Locks on, boss.
Can we switch positions then? If I can get in the gas cloud, that'd be nice, but you're just gonna board me.
Move that junk. Hit the red button. Next boy, get to work, you lazy
Alright.
kids.
Get going, get going.
Roks is best.
The battleship is tempting, but it goes the same speed as these Hades.
You got it, boss.
So now we just gotta pincer him in the corner while I grab some objectives. So congratulations, you're now in separate groupings.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
You should be able to deal with that. And again, I want to cut these ships off at the point if I can handle it. If I can allow for it. Actually, let's overwhelm them. Because you're not going to be contributing anytime soon.
Ready.
These Roks can at least do damage to these Hades, again, so long as they're not in armor-piercing range, and I just gotta be mindful of the torpedoes. That's a very minor detail.
Strategic points.
Not a big deal for the Roks, but it's a factor that could pay dividends.
Here we go.
And since these are like battle cruisers and all that, they'll be easier to break with their engines. Although, I gotta group these guys separately. I'm doing this wrong. Because now this Desolator's not doing any damage, which I am fine with.
Enemy ship sighted. You got it, boss.
We're slowly breaching through the hull, which is not going to mean much, but I can track cannon.
What you want?
And actually,
Roks.
yeah, just spread out their fire. Again, I have the point lead, I just need to grab points, which we will be doing in a moment. It's going to be slow and steady, but
Boss.
The enemy is seizing
with a lot of their
the
firepower gone,
strategic
and,
areas.
and their macro cannon's kind of useless at this range, I want to argue. I'm in good shape,
The enemy has seized a strategic area. The enemy has seized a
especially now that we're in mega cannon range or heavy cannon range. I just need the engine critical hits to seal the deal.
Here we go.
The more the merrier.
We's ready.
Because right now, if you're extending range, you're still hitting with a lot of your weaponry.
Move that junk.
You get the breach. We're just grabbing points. They're fine for the time being.
Roks is best. Here we go.
Just slow and steady, and rely on those critical hits. Especially now that we have a potential window to just kill off one of their frigates
Here we go.
for some additional points. Yeah, and apparently you already repaired, so this thing might be dead.
Orcs, orcs, orcs.
I'm just wondering... I want a permit destruction, so I'm gonna wait until that's heavily damaged before I switch to reload. So just murder it. I don't even need to board it, so if I could board the other ship, that'd be great. Perfect. Now switch to reload. Oh, that's not very helpful.
You have seized a strategic.
And I gotta keep my armor-piercing ammo, so... So just keep your distance there while we pursue the other one.
You have seized a strategic area.
And you have no real macro weaponry, if I remember correctly. And maybe I should have done it the other way, because you're probably just going to boost, even though this... I might as well pressure you with this plasma bomb. And you should just burn to death, especially with the extra weaponry you're taking.
The enemy has accumulated 75% of
Oh, we got an extra boarding from the torpedo. That I was not expecting. That's a nice little bonus. And you're just prone to dying, sadly, so... Just pursue the flagship while these murder and finish off the rest. Boost, engage, and kill. Especially with now that the boarding's kicking in nicely. This looks like a victory here, especially once we kill off these two ships for the extra points they'll give me. Okay, now I don't have to feel so bad about this fleet anymore doing a terribly bad. Because our opponent played this as traditionally as you probably would expect with a long-range fleet. I'm just surprised it wasn't all Acrons, or at least all Lances in all honesty. Since with the armor piercing, without doubt, that's much more dangerous, but I really need to be more aware of the dang macro cannons. I didn't realize a single Grand Cruiser would just single-handedly kill a Rok. But a lot of that may have been due to the ramming damage too.
the enemy is close to victory.
Oh, and you just killed the Rok that I had here too, didn't you?
You have accumulated
Alright.
75% of strategic
And
points.
you have nothing else to micro jump to.
You got it, boss.
They still have the point lead, so we're gonna have to grab these.
You got it, boss.
If I can neutralize these, then I'm good.
The fight is over.
I was hoping to just deter this thing, but I guess it took a lot longer than necessary. And I heard a critical hit, but from what?
Orcs.
Oh, it's possible I might actually lose this still, dang it.
We won.
Just because of the objective. So maybe I got too excited. For no reason there.
Yeah.
Even with these good... Even with their 200 speed, it's not going to be enough, dang it. Oh my.
Orcs is best.
That's a shame. I don't know what else to really say. A video full of losses there, alas. Huh. Yeah.
Enemy ships.
If I'd been a little more diligent, maybe I should have just pulled one of the Roks over to grab the points sooner. Maybe that's what I should have done. And if I had the two frigates try and keep the battleship alive, because a lucky engine critical hit or something like that could have very easily screwed me over there when he was flanking with the Acherons or the Hades. Oh my. Oh well, I guess moral of the story, don't play with this fleet. It's bad. It's terrible. Ignore all the other videos of this.